A very good morning to Madam Hatika Hati. Today, my group will be presenting on our mini research proposal about the psychological effects of the COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJ Healthcare University College or KPJUC. A brief introduction on our research proposal, which is in the late December 2019, novel coronavirus was identified in Wuhan, China, as a cluster of cases of pneumonia. So the new virus was published by the World Health Organization on January 5, 2020. Malaysia has its first COVID-19 case from 3 Chinese tourists where they traveled from Singapore to Malaysia. And this new virus spread very rapidly across the country. It was later announced as a pandemic in March 2020. A little bit background of the study. So in a journal written by Sundarasen et al., they cited from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations that the pandemic has interrupted the learning of more than 1 billion students in 129 countries around the world. In research from Son et al., mental health issues are the leading impediment to academic success, especially in the midst of COVID-19, where staying at home and social distancing are necessary. It can greatly affect the students' motivation, concentrations, and social interactions, which these 3 things are very important for the students to succeed in their higher education. So a lot of study actually has been conducted on the impact of COVID-19, not only towards the people's mental health, but also on the country's economic and social sector. Onto the problem statement of our proposal. As I mentioned before, Malaysia has its first COVID-19 case in January 2020. And the local case in Malaysia was identified in March 2020 that was connected to a spiritual gathering. And on March 2020, Malaysia's government conducted its first movement control order to control the viral outbreak. So without any delay, the management of KPJUC instructed its students to return to their home for quarantine sessions, and all learning sessions are conducted online. So this movement control order is to control the viral of the outbreak in Malaysia. So we conducted this study to find out the negative impact of COVID-19 towards the COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJUC.
Next is the objective of the study. The objective of the study as a main objective of the study is to identify the psychological effects of the COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJ Healthcare University College. For the specific objective, there are 3 specific objectives, which is first one is to identify level of depression caused by COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJUC. Second is to identify level of anxiety caused by COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJUC. And the third one is to identify level of stress caused by COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJUC. Next will be the research question. As the objective has 3, the research question also has the 3 points, which is first one is what is the level of depression caused by COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJUC. For the second one is what is the level of anxiety caused by COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJUC. And the third one is what is the level of stress caused by COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJUC. Next is for the research methodology. First, I'm going to talk about the study design. The study design used in the study is, in order to identify the psychological effects of the COVID-19 outbreak and lockdown among students in KPJC, a cross-sectional study design will be used. A cross-sectional study, which is we are using a questionnaire survey form to do the study. Second is study population. Subjects for this study are from foundations, diploma, and bachelor students of KPJUC, which from all the courses of Foundation of Science, School of Health Science, School of Pharmacy, and School of Nursing. Next is the sampling method. The sampling method that will be used in this study is purposive sampling method.
Okay, now I will continue for the data collections. Okay, the questionnaire form of the study was distributed to the KTUC students using a Google Forms through WhatsApp. Okay, next we go to the objective, and any information regarding the study was explained to the subject before the questionnaire to be answered. Okay, third, the informed consent was collected before the proceeding with the questionnaire. Then the research questionnaire was self-administrated and consists of 3 parts, which are part 1, part 2, and part 3. The total question that needs to be answered by the subject is question including demographic data, and lastly, the complete answer questionnaire will be sent through Google Forms to the researcher. Next. Okay, for the data instrument, the survey instrument consists of 3 parts. In part 1, student will be asked about demographic questions. In part 2, student will be asked how the emotional impact and the psychology symptoms associated with a confinement due to the COVID-19 crisis were evaluated using the 2 skills, depression, anxiety, stress, and Anthony et al. 1998, and impact of event skills, IS, Horwitz et al. 1997. Each item was based on a 4-point scale, with 0 did not apply to me, 1 sometimes, 2 not regularly, but still consideration in a good time, and 3 most of the time. Part 3 will be students knows the level of their emotional impact and psychology symptoms during the COVID-19 using a similar 4-point scale. DAS questionnaire. Okay. The DAS 21 is a 4-point Likert type skills. Is first, I had 3 applied to me very much or most of the time. 0 did not apply to me at all. That uses 21 items to assess the unpleasant emotional states encountered to the previous week. The Spanish version of the DAS 21 was used as a et al. 2002. It revealed a hierarchical factor structure with 3 first-order components: depression, anxiety, and stress, and the second-order factor that served as a general indicator of emotional. Ruiz et al. 2017. The DAS 21 has also demonstrated good internal consistency and convergence and discriminant validity. Okay, this is questionnaire form information to the respondent. We have a section A, demography. The student need to complete the section A, which is have a gender, age, cost. Next. Okay, for the DAS, this is types of the questionnaire. The rating scale as is follows: 0 to 3. Next. It is a type, the scoring of instruction for the DAS. Next. Okay, data analysis tools. The statistical package for the this study is SPSS version 25.0 computer software. SPSS 26.0 computer software should be able to reduce bias and increase the credibility of the study. Descriptive analysis will be calculated for the demographic details, and the variables will be used in the study. Okay, for the strengths and weaknesses of the study, the strengths is the research method are one of the excellent way to gather lots of information from the student about the emotional impact during the COVID-19. Okay, for the research method are also a reliable method to inquire information because of the standardized questions phrased in exactly the same way for all participants. Okay, in the weaknesses in this study, since COVID-19 is a new viral pandemic that was discovered in 2020, the researchers and study its topic are still minimal, and the questions are standardized, but it's difficult to ask anything other than very general question that a broad range of people will understand. Collecting data from students are quite difficult as all things are done online. Okay, this is the reference. Thank you.